Be here today, and I want to thank Miss Elaine for giving me this opportunity to come and tell you all a little bit about my reality behind an illusion and how I defeated giants of sexual and domestic abuse. So fathers, did you know that your influence in your daughters' lives shapes their self-image, their self-esteem, confidence, and their opinions of men? See, when I was a little girl, I grew up with a lot of domestic violence. And when my stepdad and my mom were married, he taught me how a woman should be treated by the way he treated my mom. But when they got divorced, I was introduced to my biological dad. Now, it took me a while to accept him as my real dad. But even though I had a real dad and a stepdad, I was still missing that attention from them, with no man being in the house. So at age 11, I met a guy in junior high, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. So I thought, sure, why not? So at age 11 is when I had my first encounter with sex. And because I looked so much older than what I was, there were a lot of older men that pursued me, an educator, and guys in the neighborhood. And they offered me money and things to do sexual acts with them. And others just took it. Then I went to high school, and that led me into promiscuity. I had a lot of sex partners, and that then got me pregnant a couple of times. And I didn't know how to protect myself, of course. So then that led to a couple of abortions. And I went into a deep depression. And I also tried to commit suicide. So I later met my daughter's dad, and he was the first guy to hit me. And after that, my senior year in high school, I met my high school sweetheart. He was my second abuser, and he was also my son's dad. And I took his abuse for 7 years because I thought I loved him. And I think I loved him more than life itself. Until it got to a point that I didn't like having a black eye. I didn't like being dragged on the concrete until my knees were scarred to the white meat. And I definitely didn't like the fact that I saw black and blue bruises all over my son. So after I tried to slice his neck, I saw the inside of Lew Sterrett jailhouse again. Because you see, it's one thing to cause harm upon me, but it's another thing when you mess with my kids. I wasn't having it. So eventually I left him. And after that, I was sexually fondled by my half-brother. Then I was raped by a stranger in my own home. And to this day, I don't know what he looks like. But that's soon gonna change because I met a young lady just last week. And I found out that my rape kit is still on the shelf. So we're gonna find him. And I also was raped by my fiance at the time. So all of this time I was hiding behind this illusion, pretending that everything was okay. When in reality, I was hurting, confused, and left feeling like damaged goods. And I isolated myself from my family because I didn't want them to know what was going on with me and how much of a mess I was. And I had tried everything to ease the pain, from drinking to smoking, and I don't even smoke. I was smoking cigars, but I looked like I was on crack. To crying my eyes out at night, to having multiple sex partners, and even listening to some of the greatest hits of Al Green. One of my favorites, How to Mend a Broken Heart. Y'all know anything about that? None of that worked. So I asked God. I was really angry with God because I felt like he didn't love me because he allowed all of these really bad things to happen to me. So I asked him, God, what is it that you want me to do on this earth? Because I don't want to be here. I wanted to give up and throw in the towel, but you threw it back at me. And he told me, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So I had to die to self in order for me to be resurrected into the new self and start loving me. I changed my mind about being bitter and broken. And I decided that I was no longer going to be a victim of my circumstance. I was a survivor. And I changed my mind about being afraid and ashamed of my past. Instead, I embraced it so that I could reach out to another sister and let her know she is not alone. I changed my mind about being or allowing people to make me feel less than and unworthy. As a matter of fact, I forgave them. I took my power back. And then I turned around and thanked them for all of the pain that they had inflicted upon me, because my pain became my purpose. So you see, I don't have to have a lot of money in my bank account to be rich. I can be rich in my mind and change the world. And yes, education is good. But when God qualifies you, you don't need a degree to get to the levels that he's going to take you to. Because you see, I don't have a degree, yet I still work for a Fortune 500 company. And I'm in a position that requires a degree. I am a published author, and I'm able to speak on platforms in front of police, attorneys, and judges. So you see, ladies, you don't have to just exist in life. You can live. Do things that you want to do. And in the words of Lisa Nichols, you don't have to dim your light just because people are saying that you're shining too bright. Instead, you can just hand them some shades. Let them know you ain't going nowhere. You are here to stay. And that is my reality behind the illusion, because my mama didn't call me sunshine for nothing. Thank you.